Welcome to this explainer. We're going to completely dismantle the overwhelming myth of language learning and give you a mathematically proven roadmap to French fluency. Look, if you've ever stared at a thick, heavy French dictionary and just felt a wave of absolute panic wash over you, well, you're definitely in the right place. Today, we aren't just tossing around abstract concepts. We're diving into the hard data, the actual linguistic research, and the cognitive science behind memory. We're going to show you exactly how to build a rock-solid French vocabulary without wasting hundreds of hours of your life.
Okay, let's dive right into this by confronting the absolute biggest anxiety every single student faces when they crack open that French dictionary. Exactly how much of it do you actually need to memorize? I mean, when we say we want to be fluent, what does that actually mean in terms of raw numbers? Are we talking 1,000 words? 10,000? Let's take a look at what the research actually says about the real vocabulary size you need to functionally operate in a foreign language. Now, it is true that native speakers possess a massive vocabulary. Depending on their education level and, reading habits, a native adult might know upwards of 30,000 words. And because of that, fluency can seem like this completely impossible mountain to climb. You're probably sitting there thinking, how on earth am I going to flashcard my way to 30,000 words? There's just no way. But hold on a second, because that number, it's actually highly misleading for someone learning French as a second language.
Here is the massive sigh of relief you've been waiting for. You really only need about 2,000 to 3,000 words to reach conversational fluency. At this level, which linguistic researchers usually categorize around the B1 or B2 level, you can discuss your hobbies, navigate travel situations, and understand the vast majority of everyday casual conversations. And here's a huge bonus if you already speak English. Our languages share thousands of easily recognizable cognates. Because English pulled so much of its vocabulary from French and Latin, hitting that 2,000-word target is actually so much closer than you think.
Section 1. The power of frequency lists. So, here's the secret. Not all words carry equal weight in the language. This right here brilliantly illustrates the 80-20 rule of languages. Researchers analyzing massive collections of text found that the top 2,000 high-frequency words account for about 80% of everyday speech and informal writing. 80%. Meanwhile, the next 1,000 words, they only add a tiny 3 to 4% sliver of extra understanding. You get massive diminishing returns the further down the dictionary you go. Basically, learning the French word for table is going to help you infinitely more than learning the French word for chrysanthemum during your first year.
Think about it like this. Just as English learners rely on proven frequency lists, like the Oxford 3000 or the New General Service List for their foundational coverage, French students really must conquer their equivalent high-frequency base lists before they ever start worrying about specialized, complex jargon. You simply don't need to know academic terms for biology or advanced legal vocabulary right out of the gate. Get your hands on a list of the 2,000 most common French words. Those are your structural bricks. Everything else is just decoration.
Section 2. Beating the forgetting curve. Now, you can study that high-frequency French list all day long, but if you don't understand how your memory actually works, you are just pouring water into a leaky bucket. The German psychologist Hermann Ebbinghaus discovered our main biological antagonist here, what we now call the forgetting curve. He found that without strategic review, we lose half of what we learn within just 1 hour. 1 hour! And it gets worse. By day 3, your retention is down to a mere 20%. See, your brain has two types of memory, short-term and long-term. If your brain doesn't think a new French word is absolutely vital for your survival, it literally dumps it from short-term memory almost immediately.
So what do? The absolutely crucial point here is to hijack this forgetting curve using spaced repetition. You have to review your French vocabulary at precise intervals, like 15 minutes after learning it, then an hour later, then the very next day, and then 2 days after that. By deliberately interrupting the forgetting process just as that word is about to fade away, you permanently shift it from short-term right into long-term memory. And don't worry, apps like Anki or Magaku completely automate this entire scheduling process for you, making your study time hyper-efficient.
Section 3. The Daily Action Plan.
Okay, knowing the science is great, but how do we actually execute this daily without completely burning out? Well, the fast language mastery method relies on a shockingly simple math equation. Memorizing just 33 words a day gets you to roughly 1,000 words in exactly 30 days. Think about that for a second. 33 words. That is incredibly manageable. You aren't trying to cram 200 words over a weekend. You're just consistently chipping away at the foundation, day by day, building a habit that practically guarantees success.
To really lock in those 33 daily French words, you're going to want to follow this 5-step cycle so you don't lose your mind or your motivation. Step 1. Select the words from your frequency list or even from French media you actually enjoy. Step 2. Memorize them using your flashcards. Step 3. Visualize. Literally close your eyes and link the French word to a vibrant mental image, not just the boring English translation. Step 4. Apply them by creating your own unique sentences. And finally, Step 5. Review everything with a quick 5-minute timed drill of your recent words.
Actually, let's zero in on that apply step for a second, because I promise you it's a total game changer. Learning words in pure isolation is terrible for retention. If your new French word is the equivalent for enormous, don't just memorize some generic dictionary sentence like, "The building is enormous." No way. Build a compelling personal connection. Create a sentence like, "My university is enormous," or "My dog's appetite is enormous." Context teaches your brain the actual nuances of the word and anchors it to your real life, making it nearly impossible to forget.
Section 4. Building French muscle memory. Let's look at the final, physical component of true fluency that takes you from merely reading French to speaking it effortlessly. As the language learning platform Preply points out in their research, speaking French aloud isn't just a mental exercise, it's a literal physical workout. You are actively training the muscles in your tongue, your lips, and your vocal cords to produce entirely foreign sounds on autopilot. Just like a pianist's fingers remember a really complex chord progression, your speech organs need muscle memory. If you want to speak fluently, you absolutely must pronounce your 33 daily words out loud, exaggerating the movements until the physical act of speaking French just becomes second nature.
So, bringing it all together, your ultimate toolkit for French fluency is pretty clear. First, you're going to ignore that massive dictionary and prioritize high-frequency words. Next, you'll conquer the forgetting curve using spaced repetition apps. You'll build physical fluency by actually speaking words aloud daily. You'll expose yourself to words in their natural environments by reading content slightly above your level, and you will tie every single new piece of vocabulary to your personal context. Guys, this is the scientific, mathematically sound way to completely hack your fluency. We've shown you the math, we've explored the cognitive science to beat the forgetting curve, and we've given you the daily framework to actually make it happen. The science proves that conversational fluency is well within your reach in a matter of months, not years. So the only question left to kickstart your journey: what are your first 33 words today? Grab that frequency list, fire up your flashcards, and let's get started.
And that is exactly why I want to encourage you to book a one-on-one conversation lesson with me. In these personalized sessions, we take all the method and tips we just talked about, put them into active practice. I'll be there to help you correct your word order in real time. I'm going to leave you with this beautiful French proverb. C'est en forgeant que l'on devient forgeron. Practice makes perfect.